Hello, so this is a revision video for AP Chemistry 2.7, VSEPR and Hybridization. This is a revision video, meaning we only cover the essential information that you need to know. For more detailed explanations and full video lessons, please check the links in the description below. VSEPR stands for Valence Shell Electron Pair Repulsion. Core idea is simple. Electron pairs around an atom repel each other, and therefore arrange themselves to be as far apart as possible. This includes both bonding pairs and lone pairs, which together are called electron domains. In order to predict the geometry around a central atom in a molecule, we first of all have to identify how many electron domains surround it. A single, double or triple bond or lone pair each counts as one domain. This number tells you the electron domain geometry. Exam tip here, single, double and triple bonds all count as one domain. If a central atom has two electron domains around it, it has a linear electron domain. If it has three electron domains around it, it has a trigonal planar electron domain geometry. If it has four electron domains around it, it has a tetrahedral electron domain geometry. If it has 5 domains around it, it has a trigonal bipyramidal electron domain geometry, and if it has 6 electron domains around it, it has an octahedral electron domain geometry. Electron domain geometry that we've just looked at includes all electron domains, so bonding pairs and lone pairs. However, molecular geometry only considers bonded atoms, so lone pairs aren't included in the final shape. Now, if you only have bonding pairs and no lone pairs, the electron domain geometry will obviously be the same as the molecular geometry. But if your central atom does have lone pairs, we need to account for these. For example, if the central atom has 4 electron domains but 1 lone pair, then the molecular geometry is trigonal pyramidal, with a bond angle of approximately 107 degrees. Notice the bond angle is slightly less than in a tetrahedral arrangement because the lone pair of electrons repels the bonding electrons more than the bonding electrons repel each other, meaning they're squeezed closer together given a slightly lower bond angle. If the central atom has 2 bonding pairs and 2 lone pairs, now the shape is nonlinear, and the bond angle is decreased even further to approximately 104.5 degrees. And if the central atom has 4 bonding pairs and 2 lone pairs, now the octahedral electron domain geometry becomes a square planar molecular geometry with bond angles of 90 degrees. You also need to know the shapes for seesaw, T-shaped and square pyramidal. Exam tip here. Always start by figuring out the electron domain geometry around a central atom and then factor in the lone pairs of electrons to determine the molecular geometry. Don't skip that step and go straight to the molecular geometry. Always figure out the electron domain geometry first. As an extra note here, the rules that we use for VSEPR theory also apply to small polyatomic ions, such as NH4+ ions, which are tetrahedral, and NO3- ions, which are trigonal planar. Bond order refers to the number of electron pairs shared between 2 atoms. A single bond is 1 shared pair of electrons and has a bond order of 1. A double bond has 2 shared pairs of electrons and a bond order of 2. And a triple bond has 3 shared pairs of electrons and a bond order of 3. As bond order increases, bond length decreases and bond strength increases. This is because the greater the number of shared electrons between the nucleus of each atom, the greater the electrostatic attraction between them. And this stronger attraction pulls the nuclei closer together, given a shorter bond, and requires more energy to break, meaning a stronger bond. A molecule can be polar or non-polar, depending on whether it contains polar bonds and the molecule's symmetry. Remember, a bond can be polar if the 2 bonding atoms have different electronegativities. Non-polar molecules have no permanent dipole, so even if they contain polar bonds, the bonds are arranged so the dipoles cancel out, giving a non-polar molecule. For example, carbon dioxide and tetrachloromethane. Polar molecules, however, do have a permanent dipole. This is because the dipoles in the molecule don't cancel out due to asymmetry, and the molecule is polar. For example, molecules of water and chloromethane. Hybridization is a model used to describe how outer atomic orbitals of an atom mix to form hybrid orbitals used for bonding to other atoms. The hybrid orbitals have equal energy and are orientated in specific geometries to minimize electron repulsion. Hybridization can be used to explain the shapes predicted by the VSEPR theory outlined previously. For example, when carbon forms bonds to other atoms, the outer s and p orbitals can hybridize and merge together. If the s and 3p orbitals all merge, then 4 new hybrid orbitals get formed, which are called sp3 hybrid orbitals. sp3 because they were formed from 1s and 3p orbitals. The new sp3 hybrid orbitals have a tetrahedral geometry and an angle of 109.5 degrees between them. Sometimes not all of the outer atomic orbitals merge to create the new hybrid orbitals. For example, for the carbon, if only one s but 2 of the p orbitals hybridized, then 3 hybrid orbitals would be formed, sp2 orbitals, and they would have a trigonal planar arrangement with an angle of 120 degrees between them. And if only the s and 1 of the outer p orbitals hybridized, then the new hybrid orbitals would be sp orbitals, and there would be 2 of them with a linear arrangement and an angle of 180 degrees between them. Because of this pattern, we can very quickly determine the type of hybridization a central atom in a molecule has based on its molecular geometry. If it's linear, that would mean sp hybridized. If it's trigonal planar, sp2 hybridized, and if it's tetrahedral, sp3 hybridized. Outer d orbitals can get involved in hybridization as well, but we don't need to worry about that at this stage in the course. We can classify covalent bonds as being either sigma or pi bonds. Sigma covalent bonds form by the direct or end-to-end overlap of orbitals along the bonding axis between the two atoms. They are present in all covalent bonds, so a single covalent bond will always be a sigma bond. Pi bonds, however, form by the sideways overlap of adjacent p orbitals of two bonding atoms above and below the bonding axis, so they are only found in double and triple bonds. So this means a double bond will contain one sigma bond and one pi bond, and a triple bond will contain one sigma bond and 2 pi bonds. Because of the type of orbital overlap, sigma bonds are slightly stronger than pi bonds. The shared electrons are closer to the nucleus of each bonding atom, meaning stronger attraction that's harder to overcome and break. Pi bonds also restrict rotation around a bond axis. They can't rotate. You should be able to quickly identify how many sigma and pi bonds there are in simple molecules based upon the type of bonds present. For example, in the molecule ethene, there is a total of 5 sigma bonds and 1 pi bond. This is because there are 4 single bonds between carbon and hydrogen, which are all sigma bonds, and there is a double bond between the 2 carbon atoms. Well, a double bond is made up of 1 sigma bond and 1 pi bond, giving 5 sigma and 1 pi bond in total. In the molecule carbon dioxide, there is a total of 2 sigma and 2 pi bonds. This is because the carbon-oxygen double bond is made up of 1 sigma bond and 1 pi bond, and because there's 2 of them, that would give 2 sigma and 2 pi in total.